Hello everybody, welcome to this new video. I'm Haroo, and in today's video we're going to talk about a somewhat controversial topic. I'm excited to tell this story because it's not explored in depth, and I want to stress this up front for anyone with these thoughts. Me and this community do not support these behaviors at all. We don't support or tolerate these evil groups. Our past as a civilization is a total disgrace, but this is history, and here all is told. On this channel, we're going to approach everything with humor and learning, as we've always done, and it's not meant to hurt or offend anyone. From the Haroo channel, everyone deserves to be respected and accepted in this world. And with that said, enjoy the video, handsome. Because today we're going to talk about my favorite Halloween costume. Trick or treat, I'm going to explain the full story of how a casual social club made up of 6 teenagers who just met to drink and chat about life ended up transforming into the largest radical group of American origin. In a global sense, it's clear that the Nobel Peace Prize would go to my father, but why was this group even established? And more seriously, why would the United States ever permit a group of this magnitude to exist in present times? Brother, who brought this child here? He's going to bet 3 liters of water, for crying out loud. Alright, to properly place ourselves in the history of the KKK, we must go all the way back to the very start of the American Civil War, which aimed to put an end to African American slavery. And no, it wasn't like a typical Avengers War. Whites versus blacks. Nah. This was a process that would determine the particular type of nation to be adopted. On one hand, we had the Southern Confederates, who were in favor of African American slavery as the engine of the economy. He could very well be the most composed modern warfare user, while the Northern Union aimed to eradicate slavery, as factories were undergoing modernization and acting as the economy's driving power. In short, the North had factories, the South had cotton fields for making clothes. Because back then, the United States was, in a way, a type of sweatshop for its time. Only instead of Nicaraguan children toiling away for 80 hours weekly, it was black individuals tirelessly cutting their neighbor's grass for the remainder of their lives, all in return for just a mere loaf of bread. And if they refused, well, they were forced to confront the formidable wizard bosses, renowned for their legendary mythical weaponry, such as the infamous demon-slaying whip adorned with flaming spikes, which has been powered up at least 4 times in the Pack-a-Punch machine. But the thing is, miraculously, the North won the war, and slavery in the United States would become a thing of the past. The war ended. There was peace and love, except for the losers. They were extremely salty because they lost the war. So 6 teenagers established a social group where they could chat, drink, and curse African Americans to hell and back. This was because naturally African Americans were now able to vote, utilize public services, marry white people, and a great many other things. And these teenagers were vehemently opposed, exclaiming, "Oh no, not my boy!" By the way, the name comes from the Greek word kyklos, meaning circle, which would represent the group, right? The circle of brothers. And clan, well, that comes from Scottish. So doing the calculations, you'd end up with something like Kyklos clan. Those parties the cats threw are like those typical parties your friends like, "Whoa, bro, you absolutely have to come." They're just like As the group expanded, things spiraled out of control and the impact amplified. The fellas would gather to play pranks, hidden camera pranks, though without an actual camera since video cameras didn't exist back then. They'd dress up in white robes, pretending to be ghosts to instill fear in African American communities at 3 in the morning, feigning immortality. Initially, it was just playful jokes, right, to let off some steam after their defeat. It's akin to just messing around, you know, with your buddy. I have just successfully installed an X-25R model bomb. Happy Ku Klux Klan Day to everyone, happy April Fools. As the Klan's membership expanded, and each individual pursued goals distinct from their peers, they ceased to view it lightly and began establishing hierarchical ranks to impart authority and maintain control within the organization, with the paramount position being the Grand Wizard, adorned in a vibrant red robe, held the authority to consistently make the ultimate pronouncements on all significant matters. Call me crazy, but I think I know where the Smurfs got their inspiration. The group was quite out of hand. They certainly weren't treating it as a laughing matter. Reports of brutal beatings began to surface. Things went so far that they were carrying out mass shootings in towns, leaving thousands dead, making it look like a war zone. The Triple K had completely transformed into a full-fledged terrorist organization. People are afraid to walk the streets because honestly, what would you do if you came across something like this in the middle of the woods? Because I, at the very least, would probably masturbate. Clearly, the Northerners became fully aware of this entire massacre being perpetrated by the terrorist Klan. Consequently, the federal government enacted the Force Act, more accurately known as the Ku Klux Klan Act of 1870. This legislation granted them the authority to use force to dismantle and apprehend Klan members in instances where civil rights were endangered. Following this law, the Klan lost all its strength, was fading away, and remained largely unnoticed. However, what we always come to realize is that with racism, there is invariably a second part. And it was even more explosive than the first because in addition to targeting African Americans, they would also include gays, Jews, immigrants, communists, and quite surprisingly, even Catholics. And you might be asking yourself, how did it ascend so rapidly after the group had been defunct for nearly 40 years? Simple. Thanks to a pornographic film. No, not actually, just a regular motion picture. In 1915, The Birth of a Nation premiered, depicting the Triple K as heroic saviors of American society, protecting it from African Americans. Here's an amusing tidbit that no one has asked me, but I'm going to tell it anyway. They didn't hire black people for the movie. These were white actors in blackface performing in order to make this film. Furthermore, the president of that era, Woodrow Wilson, fully endorsed the film after it was produced and shown within the White House, a significant building that had also been constructed by enslaved people. Thanks to the movie, the Klan resurged with renewed inspiration, and this time with a much improved structure. It managed to gather 8 million members, which accounted for 7.5% of the United States population. Among them were politicians, prominent businessmen, and well-known public figures. No, not Michael Jackson. In addition, the group possessed millions in resources, all thanks to donations, official attire, and they even had their very own merchandise line. The only thing lacking was a Triple K edition Monopoly game, where you could purchase properties such as a watermelon farm, acquire a basketball court, and every time you passed the Go Square, you'd be granted a free slave. The Klan had an abundance of donors, yet they struggled greatly with money management. Consequently, significant corruption issues emerged within the organization. But the most significant scandal was the Great Depression, as their donor base plummeted from between 3 and 4 million down to merely 3,000 individuals, as in a time of severe crisis, it was not the moment for making donations, and thus the Klan became financially ruined. However, the final incident that truly broke the organization was the heinous murder of a white woman, committed by a very high-ranking leader within the Klan. The massive scandal was so big that it completely destroyed the Klan's image. Politicians who had previously been strong supporters abruptly withdrew their backing, and a significant number of members abandoned the group, feeling that its actions now violated the very values they claimed to uphold, thus leading to the Klan's demise once more. Well, to hell with that, and with that we're off to current events. As of today, the Klan still exists, though defunct with only 5,000 members. It went out of style. Now the hot trend is Skibidi Toilet. Yo, best series, 10 out of 10. I like dick. Please, somebody stick it in me. But why does the United States allow this Klan to exist today? Especially with how sensitive the issue of racism is in the United States nowadays. Very simple. Freedom of speech and the right to assembly. As long as they don't cause trouble, they can do whatever the hell they want. And that's it for today's video. I'll leave a link for you in the pinned comment below so you can vote for the next topic. Warning, things are about to get really wild. And since you stayed until the very end, you'd greatly support me by subscribing to this channel so I can finally get that crappy plaque and snap it in half. Today we feast on subscriptions, people. I'm sending you a huge kiss and we'll see each other again whenever I damn well feel like it. Damn, 10 months just for trying to stage a coup? No way. I'm just gonna write a book and get absolutely shredded on this machine. But how? That guy's using it. Relax. Telepathy. Huh? What did you do? He vanished. Nah, don't worry. I just ordered him an Uber.